Hello VC, this is Alexander from Wax and Wine, and today I am fresh from a trip in Oregon. I drove from Los Angeles to the middle of Oregon through the 101. So it's a drive I recommend to all. It is incredibly scenic. It takes a very long time, but if that's your trip, I think you'll enjoy every minute of it, especially that southern half of Oregon. So while I was driving and doing the legwork, my lady indulged me and allowed me to hit some antique stores and record shops along the way. And then we met up with my parents and had a wonderful trip. So I'd like to share with you some of my finds and also expound on one of my favorite white grapes. So stay tuned and away we go. The first record I came across wasn't this record that I'm going to share. I was looking for jazz, and it's kind of annoying, right? When you start to get to a level, when you fill up all the racks behind you and you're kind of trying to find space for your next record, you've got a lot, and so you got to look a lot, and you probably have to resort to eBay or to other collectors who might be willing to part with some pieces. But I was very grateful to find this in a Portland record store, Benny Golson's New York Scene on Contemporary. Now, this record comes out in 1958 and has a whole slew of incredible players, from Lee Morgan, Paul Chambers, Wynton Kelly, Charlie Persip on the drums, Gigi Grice, Julius Watkins on French horn. What? Yeah, that's right, French horn. You got James Cleveland, Jimmy Cleveland on trombone, Sihab Shahab playing as well. So you've got kind of a real intense cast of characters. Now, Contemporary was a West Coast record label, and then they put out the New York Scene. I think this is such an iconic jazz cover. This I picked up for $12. This is not an original by any means. This is probably, if I had to guess, like a 70s mono pressing. Doesn't really matter. It matters that it's clean and that the music is beautiful. So there you go. I don't know if that was helpful, but Capri, something in B flat. There's a lot to enjoy on that album. On my first ever YouTube, I had waved the white flag. I had found a copy of that on CD that I purchased at a flea market, and I said, to hell with it. I'm never going to find a copy of that out in the wild, OJC or otherwise. So let me just get this CD. And, there you go. I found it, and I found it for a really reasonable price. So I'm kind of unpacking, listening to the music, listening to how it sounds on my system. And I'm just grateful that I found, a couple jazz pieces, because truthfully, the majority was not jazz. So on to the next. So when you're driving along the 101, you'll see a lot of lighthouses as you get a little closer to the coast and up into the north, right? When you get past around Eureka, California, and you start going up to about Crescent City, then you start getting some real picturesque lighthouses. So just across the border, there's a Goodwill that I stopped at in Brookings, Oregon. So this is like one of the big towns at southernmost Oregon, at the border at the 101. And there was a light drizzle in the day, and I went into the Goodwill and I looked for some records, and I found a whole stack of cool CTI jazz records, and then a Lores Alexandria record, later period, from her. It was autographed, and I ended up leaving it all behind, and I just took this record, and this is not a jazz record. I had most of that CTI stuff, and Art Farmer, things like that. Some really, really cool pieces, but, just leave them for someone else who doesn't have any of it, maybe. But I found Lighthouse on the Shore by Norman Blake. And this is a 1985 record that comes out on Rounder Records. And it is pristine. It also looks to be signed. I can't tell who that is, but his wife signed it. So Nancy Blake. I don't know. It's trying to focus on me. But anyway, you get it. I haven't listened to this yet, but I was actually really, really excited when I found it. So Norman Blake, I have a few of his albums, so I kind of know what to expect. It's a traditional folk artist. Did some work also with the Coen brothers on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But really beautiful stuff. And I just kind of thought how perfect it was that someone had donated this to the Goodwill, and that me, a passerby who's kind of excited by all these lighthouses, comes across this piece by an artist that I really appreciate, and then just a lighthouse on the shore, right? Like, what could be more perfect? Yeah, on to the next. All right, so I snagged a Grail, and I want to show that last, but it's kind of my setup for the next two records. So I was given a tip by the store owner that I had to hit one more record store. She kind of gave me two directions. She said, oh, you can go back north. She didn't know where I was coming from, but she said, if you go back north over to Newport, Oregon, there's some good estate sales going on right now, a lot of records. And I was like, well, I'm going towards California. So she goes, okay, well, try this record store. So I went out of my way and I tried the record store. It's called Albatross Records, and they just opened, and they had a lot of great stuff. I, of course, was looking for jazz or blues, and I really didn't find much. They had a Meters record in retrospect that I should have left with. It was like $5 in the new arrivals bin. It was kind of insane. But I don't want to be a pig. I never want to get like duplicates of stuff unless I like absolutely adore the record. So what I left with was two records, and I left with a band that I've kind of only fallen in love with lately, and that's REM. And this is Life's Rich Pageant. And this is a 1986 club release. So paid $30 for it. So it's kind of around the top price on Discogs, but whatever. To have it in hand, Oregon, by the way, doesn't have sales tax, so $30 on the dot. And it's a great record. I love it. So Fall on Me. That's a track that for me is, I know it's like repetitive, but there's something that's like beautiful and it works. And it's my favorite REM track that I've heard. So I'm kind of getting into them later in life. So I left with one other album, and I didn't really think too much of it. It's just a record. It's by Beck. You see some of his work, but you don't see a lot of his early stuff. So when I saw it, and I saw it for $50, I thought, I'm going to get it. And that's One Foot in the Grave. So 1994, K Records, One Foot in the Grave. And it's as clean as this looks. So, you know, for you jazz fans out there who are looking for the near mint, I'm sorry to do all these air quotes. There's one little dinged corner, but otherwise that is about as clean as it gets. Now, I looked at the vinyl and I saw that it was pretty clean, and I thought, okay, I'm going to leave with that. That's awesome. Again, if I see that, I see it on the wall, and the record store is going to have it, you know, for ransom money. And I don't want to spend that. And for $50, I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm on a vacation drive. Let's rock and roll. Now, when I got to the hotel, I kind of paid attention because I saw it, but I didn't register. But I think, and again, for those of you who saw me on Instagram, you know what I'm going to say, but I think I got a test pressing, and has the same matrix code as the original from 1994, but it is just a pristine record. And obviously, when I got it home, when I got it to the hotel, I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I have here. But I looked up that matrix and I thought, okay, it is the same, should be in theory the same record. And when I got home, I played it, and it is in fact that record. But I'm not 100% if that is a test pressing, but if it is, it's like hitting gold, you know? So I felt very good with that. I'm pretty happy with what I found. And if you can believe it, there's still one other record that I couldn't even believe I found. All right. So on to the next. All right. So the last record I want to share with you all is possibly the biggest grail. Now, if Calvin Johnson or someone from K Records verifies that that is in fact some test pressing of Beck's One Foot in the Grave, then of course that would trump this record. But I was pretty stoked. I stopped off at a random little music shop that doubled as a record store, and it's just right along the coast. And you know, you don't know what you're gonna find. You don't know what lands where, who gets what. And I was waiting for someone to finish going through the bins, and I went through the smaller section while I waited, and I stumbled across this record, and I thought, whoa. And then I saw the price, and I thought, damn, that's kind of a lot. I also saw one other record. I saw Gary Bart's Harlem Bush Music on Milestone, original, very clean. But this person wanted a lot for that record too. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna hold out. And then this person was taking a long time. This person who was ahead of me was taking a long time in their section. So I double checked it. I looked at it and I thought, oh shoot, that is a white label promo. And when we're talking about television, Marquee Moon, what the fudge? Are you kidding me? A white label promo? Get out of here, dude. Yeah, save for Eclipse Corner and a little sticker residue. We're talking about a super clean record. And that's all that matters. It's the music. So I knew this from CD quite well. A lot of kids where I grew up like to play this record. And Marquee Moon has always been something like, now that I'm like heavily vested in vinyl, I thought I should have that. And I've lost numerous battles on eBay for that record, and it just wasn't meant to be. And on this trip, after lots of digging, that's no shortage, lots of digging, I was rewarded and I found the ultimate gem. So not Lee Morgan's third record on Blue Note original, but who the fudge cares? It's I left with some stellar stuff. So save for Calvin Johnson from K Records verifying that One Foot in the Grave is a test pressing. I think the Television Marquee Moon might be the coolest record I found on the trip, and I'll take it, man. I am pumped. So been listening to that a lot, and got to give a few of these other records a little bit more of a listen, but pretty stoked with that pile. So I will now be segueing into my white varietal of choice. So stay with me, all right? Talk to you soon. Okay, we've made it to the wine portion. So I would like to discuss one of my favorite white varietals, which is Chardonnay. And that is a noble varietal. That would mean it's a grape or an international varietal, a grape that's grown from Mexico to Burgundy, grown from Tasmania to Oregon, to the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Chardonnay is this universal white grape. It has kind of a range of flavors and styles. It can be in many different forms. I can have it as a sparkling wine. I can have it as a dessert wine. The versatility is something that is prized about the grape. This is a grape, for me, that is really, really impressive for all of its guises. So when I'm talking about sparkling, I would be talking about a Blanc de Blanc. It's a fancy term for that. So if I'm thinking of champagne, where we're only utilizing Chardonnay as the grape, I think that's it frequently is a very nice example. Of course, depends on the producer, but most of the ones I've encountered are delicious. If I'm thinking about a creamier, richer Chardonnay, maybe I'm thinking about Merceau. Maybe I'm not so fancy. Maybe I'm thinking of a nice Sonoma or Alexander, in the Sonoma County specifically, Alexander Valley Chardonnay, or Napa Valley Chardonnay. If I want something leaner and crisper, it can do that too. So I could be going to Chablis in Burgundy, which is this northernmost part, spelled like Chablis, right? But we don't pronounce the S, so Chablis. Whatever you're into, Chardonnay can accommodate it, which is what makes it so cool. So I have a producer here. This is Joyce. This is Chardonnay from Monterey. So this was close on my drive as I did the 101. I encountered a lot of really nice examples of Chardonnay. And you don't have to go super creamy buttery like your parents. You don't have to go super lean and mineral like your obnoxious sommelier might suggest, or the hipsters at your whatever your wine shop is. You can go somewhere in the middle. There's so many wonderful examples. So what to expect? Some sort of orchard fruit. I would get apples or pears. I think that's a primary. I can get a lot of citrus, so I would get kind of lemon. Very commonly, I get lemon curd. So you just pay attention to those flavors. Chardonnay also adapts to oak very well. So it wears vanilla and some of these creamier kind of spices. So let's say like nutmeg and things like that very well. It also is got plenty of acidity, so it is a great food partner. I would pair it with poultry. I would pair it with fish. Definitely fit for a cheese board. But yeah, if I'm you and I'm spinning my records, I'm spinning jazz, I'm spinning classical, whatever you're into, pop a bottle of Chardonnay. You know, you can go nuts. And I think $20 can get you a pretty great bottle. So maybe start with La Crema, maybe start with one of these big brands that's more ubiquitous, and then start digging in and start trying some stuff. I don't like that oaky, creamy thing. I don't like how buttery that is. That doesn't work for me. Then let me try France. Let me see what some of these leaner examples from Burgundy are. $25, that should get you a good bottle. I'm trying to think if there's something in your area you're curious about, you let me know in the comments and I'll try to help you out. But for me, I think Chardonnay's versatility is top notch and is one of those wines you should definitely go for. It has something for everyone. So when I meet the person, and there's a very stupid acronym, sorry to be a wine snob, but if I hear the ABC crowd, which would mean anything but Chardonnay, I have to roll my eyes. I try to be very friendly about wine, but I feel like this person is so oblivious to how wonderful wine is, and frequently they don't know that they're drinking Chardonnay and many other forms. So don't be a snob. Go out there, try your bottle of Chardonnay, go listen to Marquee Moon with me. We'll be listening from different places, but we'll both be spinning the same record, drinking Chardonnay, blowing our frickin' minds. But until next time, I will see ya, and be well and be happy. Be something great, okay? Go enjoy. All right, go now. The video's over.